What's going on, guys? This is Danny, Slow Restoration, and once again, it's cold. Today, it is 21.4 degrees in the garage. So we're gonna try today. It's supposed to warm up pretty good in the mid 30s, I believe. Outside, it's slowly getting there. Excuse me. But we're gonna try and get the garage warm enough to work for sure today. So we picked up some winter thaw. We're gonna dump in this heater. I mean, obviously this fuel isn't cold enough to where it's completely gelled up, but I think it's thick enough to where this heater is having some issues. So let's give it a shot. We're gonna dump a little bit of that in and see if we can get this heated up. Maybe, there it goes. Well, fire it up, see how long it stays on. Well, it did stay running, so that stuff seemed to do the trick. We let it run for a little bit, and we did get up to 34 degrees. So, looks like it might be time to get to work. Back to knocking up this exhaust system, trying to get it fabbed up. First thing I did was pull that stub I had in the transmission tail shaft there to keep it from leaking. And we did install the drive shaft that we're using. And this one is slightly different. It doesn't have that sleeve up front. And the stick shift drive shafts seem to be a little different than the automatic, where they have single U-joints here and back there. So this is the one that came out of that transmission. So that's the one we're going to use. Obviously, I didn't clean it up yet. We're still going to detail that, make it look good. But for right now, we need that in there just to make sure we have plenty of clearance around everything for our exhaust system. All right, as I'm working with these bends, as you can see, they look pretty decent. They're definitely not perfect. They do have some ripples here and there, and it's hard to see from the camera. I'll rotate it, spin it around. But they're advertised as manual bent, and they probably are, but they're definitely not complete 3-inch all the way around and uniform. The best way to do it is cut it and look at it. And as you can see there, it's pretty squashed. A little bit disappointing. My big plan was to take and cut, especially these 180-degree bends, because you never really use those. Maybe up over an axle, possibly, but usually not even a 180. And I was going to take and cut those on the bend and make whatever I need. So this was one of those bends. Cut it in half, and like I said, my goal is to spin these around, cut wherever I need to, you know, shorten them up, spin them, do whatever, and weld them back together. But as you can see, they're just not completely uniform. So not that we can't still do it, it's just not near as nice as I was expecting it to be. We got our first piece of pipe tacked in there. We're just using a MIG welder to tack this in place. It's a lot of just eyeing up and measuring, and even using a level, make sure stuff's level and straight and plumb. Sometimes just standing back and taking a broader look at things, make sure it's looking the way you want it to. I like to make everything kind of uniform as much as possible, and you know, space it off good. So I think we're looking pretty good there. The frame does angle a little bit, so let's start mocking up the other side and getting it run over. All right, guys, I've been messing around with this pipe for a while. I have it run over there. It really needed a tiny bit of a bend, like right here at the drive shaft. I don't have any tiny bends, and it's really hard for what I have to make a slight pie cut. But we were able to get through there. It goes through that cross member with plenty of room, and it actually clears the drive shaft. I have the back tires jacked up so I can spin this drive shaft, and it spins even and clears with that weight. And This section of the drive shaft will not move. I mean, it'll rotate, but it will not go up and down very much at all. A tiny bit in this bushing. All the movement happens from this joint to the back. The carrier bearing holds this pretty much level as you ride down the road. Like I said, all the pivoting happens from here back. So we can hug this pretty tight. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm gonna get it tacked up a little bit more and then try and work on our pipes from here to the muffler. We got our connector pipes from the X pipe to the muffler kind of tacked on there, just finalizing everything. It was so close, I really couldn't use the bends I had, so we just had to kind of cut this end on a little bit of an angle. The X pipe is kicking up ever so slightly, and I did that on purpose to make this work. I definitely want this muffler tucked up under as much as I can. It's definitely higher than stock, so if you look at the frame rail, you can't see it at all. You'd actually have to go up to see it. We are leveling. I threw that small level on the frame rail to see how level our frame is, and then we're leveling it. It's not quite there. We need to come down a little bit, but we're not fully tacked yet. I'm just trying to get this mocked up. So there's our connector pipes, there's our muffler, and I definitely want to get that muffler square, left, right, front, back, and even you know, straight in the frame. So I don't want any of this, don't want any of this, and I don't want any of this. So definitely a lot to pay attention on. We have plenty of clearance for our drive shaft. We have enough clearance for that kicker shock. The pipes out of the muffler are going to come up almost flush with this frame, come back over the rear, and then shoot down, and then we'll start working on our tailpipes. But for right now, we need to get that muffler exactly where it should be and go from there. It does get very tricky sometimes trying to eye this up. That drive shaft's going down from this point down to the axle on an angle, which can throw you off. This frame rail is actually kicking up here, so that can throw you off. And you just got to measure, sight everything up. I just measured, we're pretty square with this frame rail here. And if you look straight down, it seems to be square with that drive shaft. And if you look from this direction, the roll of that muffler looks pretty good too. Might throw that level on the out parts of it, and just make sure, obviously we can't, the muffler's oval, so we can't put it across the top. But if we put it sideways here, see if it'll fit here. Nope, won't fit there. So see if we can get more of an angle and get it to fit there. There we go. So it does look like it's clocked a little bit. I'll have to get that right about there. That's assuming our frame is level side to side, which it's pretty close. So we'll get that clocked around a little bit before we get this tacked. I think what I'm going to do is get this exactly where I want. I'll actually go ahead and finish tacking these up, weld on the top as much as I can. Same with this. The rest of these joints I already have welded, and then I'm going to pop the V-bands loose, slip this out minus the muffler, flip it upside down, finish my welds, and then we'll put it back on and get this muffler tacked up on here exactly where we want it. So far it's looking good. And just like that, we got this whole exhaust section popped off. As you can see, I still need to get my bottom welds here. It's easier to just flip it upside down, do them right side up instead of welding upside down. Sometimes you have to, but in the cases you don't have to, it's always easier and faster to flip it. So let's get these welded up. All right, there we go. It's all welded up, ready to go back on the truck, and it looks pretty good. This stuff actually welds pretty nice. Welds came out nice. We wiped it down quick. We'll get it propped back up on there, put our V-bands back on, and see if we can get this muffler tacked on. Probably not going to get to that tonight. We're probably actually, it's getting late, so I'm probably going to have to call it there. I will slip this back up on there, but that's probably going to do it for this video. And we'll try and get back on this tomorrow and get the muffler tacked on, get some hangers on it, and get our tailpipes up and over. I have the tailpipes kind of mocked up. I'll need to trim them down the size. And by the way, I did find a better way of trimming this, cutting this stainless pipe, and that porta cable, porta band does a really nice job of cutting this stuff. So thankfully, I was trying all different ways, and that's definitely by far the best way so far. So let's get this put back on. I appreciate everybody's support. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to hit the like button, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good day.